All right, in these video notes, we're going to be talking about solving equations that have one infinite or no solution. Okay, now this is new for us because up until this point, every equation you have ever solved had an answer. It had a number answer. Okay, right or wrong. I mean, there was no right or wrong. It had to be a number answer. That is different than now. What we're going to introduce, the fact is that we can have that one answer that we've been used to finding. We can have infinite answers, which means more answers that work than we could ever figure out. Okay, or that there is no solution. Now, the word solution means answer. In math, a lot of times they don't use the word answer, they use the word solution. Okay, now we're going to work one of each type in our notes. We're going to work up an equation that has one answer, one that has infinite answer, and one that has no solution. And we're going to look at how they are different and how you know the difference. Okay, so if you'll go ahead, if you want to pause the video, copy down example 1 for us right up here. And then I want to put in my river. Okay, now example 1 really does look a lot like what we were doing in our assignment yesterday. Okay, our previous assignment. We've got variables on both sides. We got parentheses. Okay, so let's go ahead and start simplifying this because we know how to do this. On the left side of the equation, I need to do the distributive property. So I'm going to do 2 times 2x, which will give me 4x, plus, right here I've got 2 times 1, which is 2. Make my plus sign a little bit better looking. Now, over here on this side, I don't have anything to do with it, so I'm just going to put 3x plus 1, bring it down. Now, again, this is what we've been doing in the previous 3 or 4 lessons. We're going to take our x's and put them together on the right side, and we're going to put our constant over on the left side. So with that said, I'm going to subtract the 3x from both sides. Okay, so it's kind of like, you know, we talked about in class, you got your girls and your guys all mixed up, co-ed on both sides of the river, but what you really want is all the guys on one side of the river and all the girls on the other side of the river. So that's what we're doing. We're putting all the girls on one side and all the guys on the other, okay? But instead of girls and guys, we've got X's and numbers, okay? So look right here, 4x minus 3x, that's gonna be 1x. Now, do I need to write the 1 in front of the x? No, I don't, so I'm not, okay? We just know it's there. Now, I'm going to bring down my plus 2 equal to, now we know right here the 3x's are going to cancel each other out, and that leaves me with the 1. Now, we've got the x's all on one side of the river. Now we got to put those constants on the same side. So, since the variable is on the left side, the 2 needs to go to the right side, okay? Since that's plus 2, I'm going to minus 2, just like that. Perfect. Now, bring down my x. My 2's here are going to cancel out because it's plus minus, equal to 1 minus 2, which is negative 1. Now, I don't have to do any dividing here because my number in front of my x is 1, and what happens if you divide by 1? Nothing. You get the same old thing. So we're good to go. Now, I do need to check my work. And we know when we're checking, the first thing we're going to do is write that problem down. And the next thing is we'll throw us in a river right here. Now, again, saying it again, work on each side of the river with the checking. Simplify the left side, then go over and simplify the right side. So if I'm looking at the left side right here, I'm going to have 4 times -1 plus 2. And I feel like we've done this so much, y'all know how to do this and you sleep. 4 times -1, that's -4 plus 2. But -4 plus 2 is -2. Now, on this side, I'm going to have 3 times -1 plus 1. Well, 3 times -1 is -3 plus 1, and -3 plus 1 is -2. I notice both sides of my river are equal, so it checks out, and I know this is my correct answer. Okay, pause your video, make sure you've got everything copied down correctly before you press play. Okay, now let's look at example 2. Okay, let's copy down example 2 right here. I'll make it a little bit bigger for us. There we go. Now, 4x plus 2 equal to 2 parentheses 2x plus 1. And I'm going to stick my river right in there. Okay, now I see parentheses. Now this time the parentheses on the right side, but that's okay. I still got to do the distributive property. So I'm going to just bring down my 4x plus 2 because I'm not doing anything with that right now, am I? My parentheses are on this side. So now I'm going to do 2 times 2x, which is 4x, plus 2 times 1 is 2. Okay. Interesting. Do you notice that both sides are exactly the same? Both sides are exactly the same, and that's what I want you to notice. Again, look at what you wrote down. Both sides are the same. Now, let's say if we're going to put the x's over here on the left side, what happens when this right here, I'm going to subtract this 4x, just like that. Now, I want you to look right here. What happens when I have 4x minus 4x? Oh, 4x minus 4x is 0. That make a 0 pair. So I'm going to just cancel those out, aren't I? Okay, so what I'm left with on the left side is a 2. Now look what happens right here. 4x minus 4x, well, that's zeros again. That's 0. Anything minus itself is always 0. So those two are going to cancel each other out. Oh, what am I going to bring down right here? 2. Like that. Now, what do I notice right there? My variable disappeared, didn't it? But look at what's left. 2 equals 2. Is that true? Yes, that is a true statement. 2 is always equal to 2. Here is what we say. We would say x equals all real numbers. Okay. Oh, well, what do I mean by that? Look back at this step right here. See where everything's identical? Every number in the world, positive, negative, whole, integer, fraction, decimal, it does not matter. Large, small, fat, wide, whatever you want to call it. Every number in the world, if I was to check it right here, the left side and the right side would always, every single time come out to be the same. Okay? You will never find a number that you could put into this problem that the left side would not equal the right side because they really are identical. Okay? Now, we say that the value of x is all real numbers because every number works. Okay? But sometimes they will also say that it has infinite solutions. Now, what does that mean? If I say infinite solutions, well, that means how many possible right answers there are. Not what the right answer is, but how many of those numbers are right answers. Well, we know from Buzz Lightyear that infinity and beyond means that it never ends, right? Every number in the world you could ever imagine is going to work. There is no limit to right answers. So we say infinite solutions, okay? So let's go over here. In this spot, it says explain the answer in a sentence, okay? So let's do that. Since both sides of my equation are equal. And how do I know that? Well, that's from that little step right there where they looked identical. And also I can see it, show it right there because look, they look identical, okay? Every number in the world is an answer. Now, you know what? That is really a deep concept that there's more than one right answer. Oh, Lord. Everything we've ever done in math up until now, there was always one right answer. Okay? That's a pretty hefty concept right there, that every number in the world will work. How do I know that? When I get right here and the two sides become identical twins. Okay, if I have my identical twins, whether it be here or here, it's infinite solutions. Okay? Now that's a new piece of info that all 8th graders must know. Okay? Especially before you hit Math 1 next year in high school. Now, let's move down to example 3. Now, I about bet if the first one had an example 1 had one answer, example 2 had infinite answers, what do you think example 3 is going to end up being? Yep, it's going to be the no solution one, okay? Because we have 3 options now. These 3 options actually can only occur when you have x's on both sides of the equation, okay? If you don't have x's on both sides of the equation, infinite answers and no solution answers are not possible, okay? Now, let's take a look at this one. Again, I've got my distributed property right here. And I'll tell you what, that's the way they disguise these looking different, okay? So I've got 2 times 2x, which is 4x, plus 2 times 1, which is 2, equal to 4x plus 5. Now, some of y'all are sharp enough to catch this right here. The variable part is exactly the same, but the constant part is different. Okay, that's important. Okay, now let's just say that we're going to do this next step just like we did with all of them. We're going to move this x on the right over to the left. So I'm going to subtract this 4x from both sides. Just like that, perfect. And I know that 4x minus 4x, again, that makes a big old 0, so they cancel out. What am I left with right here? I'm left with the 2, aren't I? Equal. Now look on this side. 4x minus 4x also makes a big old 0 pair and cancels out and leaves me with the 5. Now look right there. We got a problem. Is 2 equal to 5? No way can 2 be equal to 5. Nope, nada, never. Okay, however you want to say it. I'm going to go right here and say that 2 is not equal to 5. Okay, What does that mean for us? That means that there is no solution. Now, think about it. It makes sense. Look back right here at this step. Whatever I pick for X, I think it might be an answer for X. I can pick any number in the world. Again, positive, negative, large, small, decimal, fraction, does not matter. Any number that you can imagine. Okay? If I put it in place of X on both sides, I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides. So that makes that part correct, right? They're going to make them equal. But then what happens? On this side, I'm only going to add 2. On this side, I'm going to add 5. This side is always going to be 3 more than this side. Because here I'm adding 2, here I'm adding 5. This one's always going to be 3 more or larger than this side. You're never going to find a number that will make both sides equal to each other. Okay? And that's when we say there is no solution. Now, there's also a symbol for that that I love to use because math people don't like writing out a bunch of words. I could say X equals. Now, that is not a 0. That is the letter O with a slash through it. Now, think about how many times you see signs that tell you, don't do something, don't pass, don't smoke in the building, don't walk on the grass. You know, if they want to tell you no, they put a big red circle with a slash through it, and whatever they don't want you to do, they put a picture of it in the middle. Okay, that's the symbol that means no, not possible, or no solution. Okay, now, again, let's write us a sentence to remind us of this. Okay, so over here, since the last line is not equal, okay, and if you want to draw your little arrow over there, what I'm referring to is that. Since the last line is not equal and I don't have a variable, okay, there is no answer, or we can say, let's put that in parentheses. We might, to sound fancy, we don't say answer, we say no solution. Remember, math people like that word instead of the word answer. Okay, what's your solution? Okay. Now, please make sure you get your notes copied down. Here we go. I'm back this up a little bit more, just a little bit. So we had an example with one solution, infinite solution, and no solution. Please make sure you get these copied. These notes will go into your interactive notebook, and then you'll go to Canvas and complete the assignment that goes with it.